Society of Crime.
Oh, yeah, we're back. Y'all know the drill. I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime, and another episode of the House of Horrors, guys. Ohio House of Horrors. But before we start anything, let's make sure we get that trigger warning for y'all, because today we're going to see some new pictures inside of the house that I haven't showed here before. Also, information is coming faster than I can report on this case, guys. Yes, Elizabeth Siders is pregnant and she's facing new serious felonies. But guys, I got to tell you this because people are like, wait, what? What competent for trial? Wait, insane or what? I'm not kidding, guys. That's everything about today's episode is talking about the competency and the filings of her defense lawyer. Now, it's not just Elizabeth Siders that's facing these competency issues. It's grandpa. All of them are trying to pull this shit on the court system, on us, on our heartstrings. But guys, I have a different idea of what's going on. So come on in, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. You know, I'll gift memberships later on today when we get into the watching the videos and chatting. All right. Hello, everybody. I don't know what's up with the streets of YouTube, but they're crazy. I'm glad to be on my platform here. And guys, for those of you that showed up for Turtle Island last night and showed love, thank you. Thank you. The love means the world, especially on a platform like this. All right. So we got to protect ourselves and our spirits and who we are, because people just love to attack. And that, by the way, I want to welcome Luna Wolf, WY. Welcome in, drop your DNA, and get ready for updates on the Ohio House of Horrors. Now, Luna Wolf has been here for quite some time, but I gave her a wrench because, well, it just makes us a little bit stronger. More mods, less BS, and I really like Luna Wolf. She's cool. She gets it. She knows. Just like Holly and Tiff and all the other girls that I have here. So thank you. Welcome, Luna Wolf. My girl Tiff, that's my right hand girl. When I'm using my right hand, she is my left hand. When I'm using my left hand, she's my right hand. So thank you, my girl Tiff. She does all of the merch for us. She researches. And, well, she's my friend as well. So there it is. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. She's pregnant again. She was pregnant again right out of the gate. She was already knocked up when she got arrested. So she's sitting in there trying to get a bond, but it was denied, and she's locked up. Bond denied. $300,000. Get out of here. No one wants to see you out. All right. So we're going to get in. We got a whole bunch of stuff today. Trigger warning, always a sensitive topic on my channel. Doesn't matter what I'm talking about, guys. Sometimes I just run my mouth and I say what's on my mind, and it might offend people. But if you're offended, I'm already giving you a warning. Dip now. If you're having mental health issues or something is triggering to you, don't tell us. No need to apologize. Go take care of yourself. All right. Come on in, everybody. How you doing, Kimberly? Mama Pearl's in the house. Cheeky. Love you, Cheeky. Cheeky was dope on Turtle Island. Love the calls. Hey, Cheeto the Magnificent. Kathy, always a pleasure. Lori, thank you so much. she does need her tubes tied because now we're talking about 20 children. Guys, there's something wrong here. All right. Is there a wrong turn defense? Hills have eyes. How about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? The Saw is family. Can we use that? Can we use that as a defense? Well, guys, I'm going to tell you really what the defense is and what's going on today. So come on in. Trigger warning. Much love to all you. Jinxie, what's up? I got your email. I sent that off, guys. Stay jaded. All right. Hashtag stay jaded. Hashtag GOC family. All right. Hashtag I support GOC. Right. And GOC is all of us. Guilty of Crime is the mods. It's Mama Pearl. It's Tiff. It's Kale. It's Sadie's mama. Sadie's mama's been here since day one. If anyone wants to know anything about this channel, you can ask Sadie's mama. She's been here the entire time. All right. So come on in, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get to it. There's a lot today. Gianna, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad that you used that voice and made that call. You're not nervous anymore. Thank you. Hashtag I support GOC. And that's everybody. That's Little Red. That's Krista. That's Shadow. That's Beauty Lover. That's Jinxie. Guys, we support each other. All right. And if anyone doesn't like that, well, then you guys know what they can go do. All right. Let's get to it. Let me get this up so you guys can see that. New filings indicate competency questions. Guys, they're all trying to get out of this. But what I got to tell you, today we're focusing on Elizabeth Siders and her new felonies that she's facing, along with her lawyer that's saying she's not competent for trial. She's actually not guilty by reason of insanity. And I shit you not. Okay, I shit you not. That word for word says she's not guilty by reason of insanity. We're going to talk about that today. All right. Good to see you, Teresa. Another day down, my girl. Another day. Another good day. Yes, we have to support each other. Little Red, you know, you've been here for a long time. I'm not into the BS. If you're loyal, you're loyal. If you're not, then get out of here. All right. And I do love that. Foxy, thank you for the jaded idea. I'm jaded. Stay jaded. All right. I don't care. I can't either. But you know, can I tell you something? Farquhar, look at this. She knew what she was doing. She knew how to be raised as a proper person, child, teenager. She didn't live in filth. She had weight on her. She wasn't looking like that, but she did that to her own children. She knows better. If you don't see that from that picture and see that from her being a teenager on, yes, I do believe that they've got some kind of cult-like mentality. And no, we haven't got the DNA back yet. Nothing solid to tell us that. Maybe she's pregnant from grandpa. Maybe who knows? We don't know if dad's impregnating kids, etc. We're still waiting for that. All right, so let's get to it. There's a lot today. Lot today. All right, so competency. Let me just come out the gate. Prosecutors seek new felony charges against mom Elizabeth Siders. Now, guys, I try to bring a very up-to-date. This all just came out yesterday, August 18th, and the day before, August 17th. Now, listen, I love this. I love this. Prosecutors are seeking new felony charges against mom Elizabeth Siders, as they call her a flight risk and deny bond. I can just imagine a big old stamp saying denied in red. Now, guys, Vinton County, Ohio, we got another house of horrors. Now, the Vinton County prosecutors, they're not taking this lightly, okay? They're asking the court deny bond modification for the mom and grandmother accused of endangering 16 children in Hamden. Now, mind you, if you look at the thumbnail today, you see the two conjoined twins that passed away. That means she's given birth to 18 children, 2 of which have passed away as conjoined twins, and she's got another one on the way. Are they twins on the way? What's on the way? And who impregnated her? Now, guys, according to the documents filed just this last Monday, August 17th, prosecutors submitted a memorandum contra, and that opposes a proposed bond modification for 33-year-old Elizabeth Siders. She's currently being held on $300,000 bond for 16 felonies of child endangerment but they're adding more, which is great news for me. All right. So listen, the late in the afternoon, prosecutor files a memorandum contra opposing this, and it was denied. Charges have been upgraded for this mom that thinks she's going to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. All right. Prosecutors did confirm that they're preparing new and even more serious felony charges against her. Now, beyond her original counts of the 16 child endangerments, they're upgrading these charges. And guys, this is in response to her request for a release to see her children. We're going to get into the psychology of that as well. But guess what? It was presented at a grand jury. Now, guys, that is sealed. So new serious felony grand jury charges, they're pending review, but they are serious, and we are going to talk about them today. All right. Now, listen, current charges, all family members are trying to deal with competency. They're trying to get out of it. Grandpa's too sick. He needs out. Vinton County can't pay for his medical. Elizabeth Siders, the 33-year-old mom of 16 live children, 1 pregnancy, and 2 conjoined twins that died. She's facing 16 counts of felony endangerment and other serious charges based on the pending grand jury consideration. Now, Gary Sider, her husband, 36 years old, is also getting 16 counts of child endangerment and 4 misdemeanor counts of public indecency. Guys, that's the only reason that we got here today. On May 23rd, 27th, 29th, and 31st, this jackass, Gary Siders Jr., decided he wanted to show his junk off to whoever. So whatever he did, he got indecent. He pulled out his pecker that he's using every day on Elizabeth, and he exposed himself. Police were led there, looked at the house, saw the conditions, and came back with search warrants. All right? And that's how we landed where we are today. Now Gary Siders, the husband, is facing very similar charges to his wife. But we also have Christina Siders and Gary Siders Sr., who are mother-in-law and father-in-law. They're facing 16 counts of felony child endangerment. But Mr. Grandpa Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he's probably not going to have to deal with any of these charges. All right. Elizabeth Sider is still locked up, right? The only one that's been released is Grandpa. They say she's a flight risk and she's a risk to the victims. She keeps trying to get to her kids. She's undergoing competency and insanity evaluations right freaking now, which could delay or alter the trial proceedings. But the good news is grand jury agrees with all of us here, and they don't see it the way that her defense is trying to lay it out. So what's next? Well, prosecutors signal new serious felony charges to be presented to a grand jury. We're not sure when, and we're waiting for the competency and insanity evaluations from both sides to determine if she can actually stand trial, which is wild. Now, the insanity evaluation, guys, is going to determine if her mental state at the time of the alleged crimes, if she's found incompetent or legally insane, she could avoid trial altogether and the proceedings will pause until they figure it out. We don't want that, do we? No. All right, let's continue. Gary Siders and yeah, he showed his pee-pee, he showed his pecker. You must delete my hello. Yeah, guys, you guys got the mods in the house. Handle it. We got lots and lots of mods. Get rid of any trolls that we got going on here. The twins, you know what? I'm gonna have to look at that because the twins do have a birth story. Listen, this is like my 10th episode. Here's the twins. So I'm gonna try to answer stuff when I can. But look, right there. Do twins ever get named? They sure did. Bailey Lee Siders and Faith Lee Siders, born prematurely in 2022, conjoined twins at the chest, passed away shortly after birth. All right. And that's why you guys keep coming back to guilty of crime, because we come with the proof. We come with the receipts. All right. So who's out there trash talking? That way I can get them out of here for good. All right. Tiff or one of you guys, just let me know the name of it, and then I'll time them out. All right. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Let's continue. It is what it is. If y'all are on other channels trash talking me, I don't even know why you guys come back here. All right. It doesn't like it's complete and utter chaos on the streets of YouTube. And guys, I will shut down my live streams before I get into any of that. I will literally not stream live ever again and just put videos out or not if this kind of stuff continues. So just so you know, all right, let's continue. Yeah, I got you, Lil Red. I got you. All right, let's continue. I'm not, you guys show some love. I'm just saying for those of you that were in Jones's chats and all these other people that were trash talking me, it's all a lie. None of that happened. But I'm not going to explain myself. I've been there, done that. And in the Madeline Soto case, guys, I had to hire a lawyer because Reddit had a thread that was threatening my family and sexualizing my daughter because of the Madeline Soto case. All right. I've already been there and done that. All right. They tried to take my car away 3 times. They called Cars for Kids to get my car taken. They tried to get me fired from my job. I'm not playing with y'all. You don't like it? Do what you need to do. Whoever doesn't like what I have to say on my channel, bye. Because I won't do this. I'm not doing this. All right. I've already been there, done that, got a lawyer, and I paid a bunch. We're good. Let's continue. I just had to put a message out there from the beginning. All right, that's it. That's all. Now let's continue. I did post on the community page, guys. So do me a favor. When you're done here, go to the community page and show some love. All right, go show love so we can see the people that are showing love, and then we'll move forward. Now take a look at this. Did I share this properly? Let's look at this. All right. Prosecutors signal. Okay, we're done now. That was me being on my soapbox and telling anybody that asks. I'm not going to explain it again. Go to my community page. All right. Prosecutors signal more felony charges and that they could be coming. They are. A bond filing reveals additional serious charges are expected to go before the grand jury. All right. With similar filings, guys, I want you to realize involving other family members. Guys, they're all trying to have the same type of defense. I don't think it's going to fly, though. All right. Prosecutors quietly revealed that Elizabeth Siders has new serious felony charges and is headed to a grand jury with a nearly identical filing for Christina Siders. All right. It's weird because these two have similar filings. This guy is not competent, grandpa, and this one, I think he taught him and he orchestrated this. That's what I think. But we'll see what happens. All right. So they're going to go to grand jury. Meanwhile, Gary Siders Jr. is scheduled to head back to court this week in the public indecency case. All right. That's what brought authorities to this house in the first place. And if you guys don't know, they had another house as well that were led police to. They had another house. I don't know if they abandoned it, but there's a second house involved. All right. Those are the booking photos. The already sprawling criminal investigation surrounding the Siders family in Ohio appears poised to grow again. But exactly what is coming next remains a mystery. Buried inside a new prosecution filing opposing Elizabeth Siders' request to modify her bond is a single sentence that captured our attention. We're going to look at the paperwork. Vinton County Prosecutor William Archer Jr., guys, he's on this. I gotta give him kudos. He says Elizabeth has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury, and the filing doesn't say what the offenses are just yet. There's a lot of documents that are sealed, and there's a lot of redactions, all right? So who are the alleged victims, and what are the conduct that prosecutors are painting a picture that happened here? All right, let's take a look at this, see if I can get it a little bit bigger. Hold on, let me zoom in on this. All right, there's page 1. Elizabeth denial is what it says. I like seeing that. Hold on, let me back up a little bit. Let me see what you got. Okay, there you go. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Leslie, keeping it real. Good to see ya. All right. Mama Sage, Indy Isham, Carrie. Good to see you guys. Love it. All right. And the weather's cooling down here. I love that. It's my favorite time of year coming up. September, October, best time of year, y'all. All right, look. Here we go. Court records. This was modified on August 17th, 2026. 2 days ago, guys. 2 days ago, State of Ohio versus Elizabeth Siders. State's memorandum contra to defendant's motion to modify bond. All right. State of Ohio through Vinton County Prosecutor's Office and presents its memorandum contra. If you guys know the legal jargon, then you'll know defendant's motion to modify bond. For reasons expressed below, this court should deny the bond modification, and it is. It's been denied. The defendant has filed for bond modifications in this case, and this court should deny the bond modification for several reasons. First, the defendant is facing multiple serious pending charges. Multiple F2s involving serious physical harm to her children. Need I remind you, two children were rushed to ICU and they would have died. They were 24 hours away from death, is what prosecutors say. And they say Elizabeth's a flight risk and a potential risk to the victims. Who are the victims? The children. She wants those kids. She wants to touch them. She wants to talk to them. I think she wants to manipulate them. Now, the second, the defendant has filed a competency motion. Consequently, she is at personal risk until we know what her competency is. All right. Third, the defendant has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. Therefore, for reasons expressed above, this court denies defendant's motion to modify bond, and she's out of here. All right. Now, let me do this. I'm going to show you some of the new filings, and then we'll move forward. Thank you, Kathy. I'm glad you're awake and hanging out with us today. Good to see you.
Continuing to follow the case of those 16 children that were found in a home at the end of June. 13 News reporter Sarah Davis brings us what's new this week in the case.
It's been over a month since 16 children were discovered living in what was described as deplorable conditions, leading to the arrest of 4 adults, Gary Siders, Christina Siders, Gary Siders Jr., and Elizabeth Siders. The house where they all are said to have lived has been marked down with police tape and boarded up. But the case remains active, as the attorneys representing the 4 say their clients aren't fit for trial or for custody. Bullshit. Gary Siders was released August 3rd on his own recognizance of $300,000. This came after Gary's attorney filed a motion to modify for medical reason. As part of his release, he agreed to wear a GPS monitoring device, act as a law-abiding citizen, inform the court on any contact information changes, and submit fingerprints as well as DNA to the Vinton County Sheriff within 24 hours of his release. The other 3, Christina, Gary Jr., and Elizabeth, all remain in custody on a $300,000 bond. At this point, all 4 defendants have also requested competency evaluations, with Elizabeth's attorney filing a motion Tuesday morning, saying that she was suffering from a condition that would produce legal insanity at the time of the alleged offenses. The motion also asks for a reason of insanity evaluation if she were to be deemed competent to stand trial. The Siders are all still waiting on an indictment. Each face 16 counts of child endangerment. Reporting in Vinton County, Sarah Davis, 13 News.
All right, guys, y'all are amazing. Thank you for the support. I appreciate the real ones here. All right, for those that aren't real, we know who you are. It's all good. Let me put this up real quick because we've got records showing that there's another property and then contact between the children and the mom. Guys, she wants it. All right, let me thank you guys real quick. Let me do some shout outs. First of all, I want to thank Kathy from KH Crime Lab. Go sub up to her. She's an amazing woman and her coverage is stellar. Okay, she's in the UK, so the time differences are a little bit off, but thank you, Kathy, for the gifted membership. And I saw who received that membership. Someone said thank you, but I'm kind of going backwards here. Anyway, Bella, we'll call you Bella. Bella got that gifted membership. Thank you. Thank you, Mo and Jen's a Gypsy, Indy Isham. Yeah, big hugs. Thank you. I appreciate you so very much. You guys know. Mab's in the house. That's what I'm talking about. We need strong Mab in the house. All right, you got that membership. You're not gonna be you won't be disappointed, Bella. All right, let's check out this real quick, and then we're gonna go inside of the house with some more pictures. So trigger warning, guys.
I'm here in Gallia County taking a closer look at where the Siders family lived before relocating to a home in Vinton County where investigators say 16 children were rescued from deplorable conditions. Months before investigators say they found 16 children living in horrific conditions in Vinton County, records show the Siders family left behind another home along with unanswered questions.
We didn't know they'd even left for quite a while. It was kind of just an empty house, I guess. Left a mess. Not really that great a condition.
ABC6.
Are you guys surprised that they left a mess in the shitty condition of the house? No? Okay, me either. Hey, Melinda. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Lady for Justice gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. Guys, if you received that, please thank her. Oh, you did thank her. You guys are going to love Members Only Mondays. All right, let's go. Guys, there's so many redacted documents that we are not going to be able to see for maybe quite some time or ever. I don't know how transparent Ohio is, but let's take a look.
Uncovered 3 birth records showing members of the Siders family were living at a home on this street near Cheshire in Gallia County between 2020 and 2024. Melissa Edmonds lives just down the street. She says she never saw the kids, but her nephew did play with some of them a few years ago.
My sister-in-law told me that their kids had talked to them, but they didn't really know them either.
Thank you.
Like, they didn't hang out with them or anything.
And what year was that?
Possibly 2021, summer 2022, somewhere in that area.
ABC.
Shout out to you, Sadie's mama. Go do what you need to. We don't want that to happen. We'll be here. All right? Cleaning chores, grown up, 16 kids, should have been spotless. Newfie, where have you been this whole time? I agree. Jinx, I'm still here just playing video games. Hey, I know. You're all good. Play your video games, Jinxie. All right, so there's that complaint against a parent, guardian, or other person in charge of a child. This is stemming, guys. This is not something new. All right, look at this. The undersigned duly appointed Board of Education. So you all were wondering about them going to school, right? So they went to Gallia County School District, and then they moved again. So there's a lot of things that are obviously, we know nowadays with schools, they make you do your attendance. If you don't have attendance, you got to have notes, and on and on and on. So we see that here the entire 2021 and 2022 academic year to present in the amount in excess of 72 hours for school year is thereby a habitual truant. So what do? You take your kids in the middle of the night and you move to another area. Then they can't find you, right? Wrong.
6 also obtained juvenile court records for 6 of the children. They showed the children were enrolled at Attaville Elementary School in Gallia County. But during the 2021-2022 school year, truancy complaints stated that they had not attended school for months. Those truancy cases were later closed in January of 2022 because court records stated the family could not be located and could not be served.
You have reached dispatch for the Gallia County Sheriff's Office.
That raises the question, did anyone try to find the family? ABC6 asked the Gallia County Sheriff's Office whether deputies followed up after the children could not be located. So far, we have not received a response.
They just kind of stayed inside and stayed to themselves.
While it is not clear when the Siders moved from Gallia to Vinton County, investigators said this month that the 16 victims stayed inside a 12-by-12 room in the village of Hamden for most of the last 4 years. Property records show a new owner bought the Gallia County house in May of this year. We found Bruce Golick renovating the home.
Yeah.
He says what he found inside suggests the conditions investigators described in Vinton County may have not started there.
Yeah, a lot of kids' clothes in the attic, stuffed away like someone was like living up in there. And the whole entire house was just
Trashed.
urine and human and cat
Feces.
It was pretty rough.
On your side in Gallia County, Annabelle Kinney, ABC.
I mean, are you hearing this, guys? These people had no room to have more children. Okay, they have no business having more children at all. All right, they left this house in shambles as well. I love Jay because she's a fellow live stream vapor. Oh yeah, I can't get through an episode without vaping. It's my coping mechanism. All right, now look, check this out. I'm looking at all kinds of documents behind here, and they're saying that the pregnancy may have been a loophole, but the intake on the paperwork doesn't show she's pregnant. Let's take a look at this real quick. Ohio's mom of 16's pregnancy loophole denied as arrest paperwork comes light. Now look, alleged Ohio jail inmate intake forms on Elizabeth Siders have cast doubt on the rumors that mother of 16 arrested on multiple counts of child endangerment is pregnant. All right. So the last time I covered this case, I did not find anything like that. And I just assumed she was pregnant. But here they're saying, and even not just in this article, I'm looking at about 5 different articles right now that say there's zero proof that she's pregnant again. No outlet has produced any contradictory medical record, and a gag order prevents us from even finding out. So the jail told reporters that they cannot release additional records due to this gag order. Okay, so we actually don't know for sure. We cannot say for sure she's pregnant or not. But Siders, 34, was among the 4 adults arrested last month after the police carried out a search warrant obtained in response to the tip about Elizabeth's husband, Gary. Now, Gary Siders Jr., 36, allegedly exposed himself on several occasions to the neighbors. Well, it says on 4 separate occasions to be exact. Authorities claim that the family's Hamden home was found in deplorable conditions. Now, guys, we just saw the Gallia home. Now we're talking about the Hamden home. All right. Everybody was pretty offended by them talking about the 16 feral children and third world countries. But when you look at the children between age 18 months and 18 years living in feces, infested in a 12 by 12 room that they were meant to stay, well, then you know, right? Then you know what they're saying. You know that feral children is probably more accurate than not. Now, some were unable to communicate, guys. That's what law enforcement initially said. But we started digging things up that show those children communicated online just fine. All right. Again, go back to my episodes and watch them because we've gone over this. We've gone over this quite a bit. All right. Now, here's an alleged copy of Elizabeth Sider, the mother, jail's intake form. Okay. This is the intake form that would tell us if she's pregnant or not. June 30th, 2026, it shows that 34-year-old mother of 16 checked no in the response to a question about whether she has any known medical condition or mental health, or if she's currently pregnant or postpartum. Now, guys, this is a big deal here because we're talking today about her defense attorney calling this not guilty by reason of insanity. So what did she check here? None of that. She says she's not a victim. Guys, she says she's not a victim, number one. And number two, she says she doesn't have any mental health issues or risks. She also says she's not pregnant as well. So look at that. She says she doesn't want to harm herself. All right. She doesn't warrant check. Yes. Under the influence. No. Mental health risks. No. Currently pregnant or postpartum. No. Use of less lethal upon arrest. No. And then there's the medical treatments. They didn't do a taser or any of that. So, guys, right there, based on her own account, she's not pregnant. She might be a fertile myrtle, but they are not telling us if she's pregnant or not. So let's debunk that junk right now until we hear otherwise. All right, let's continue. Yeah, it's self-reported. Given all what self-reported, wasn't she also undereducated? Well, I wouldn't say that because she was 15 years old when she became the wife of Gary Siders Jr. That's old enough to have an education, to write, and to be self-sufficient. She's fine. She's fine. Don't mind the feces and the urine smell. Don't mind the 2 children that are just laying there comatose on a mattress. They're fine. She just wants to see her kids. They're clean as a whistle. Didn't you know that feces and urine is good for the skin? Oh, no, never mind. I'm wrong thing. All right, let's continue. That was just a side note for y'all about her pregnancy. All right, so I'm going to show you some of the pictures in the house, some more pictures that I hadn't seen before or shared. Let's pull this down. Take a look at these people. These all are the 4 suspects in the Ohio House of Horrors. All right, they're all being charged equally, but Elizabeth Siders is getting more charges coming by the grand jury. Oh yeah, it's a good place for baby making though. You're right. Very fertile. That's the thing, Husky lover. We're looking at the documentation and it says she's not pregnant. And we don't know because the intake form is under a gag order. So has anyone seen her? Has anyone seen her pregnant self that can attest to that? I haven't. But still, maybe she's just gaining weight from the jail food. Who knows? All right, let's take a look back in the house. We're going to X to Mike's random thoughts. All right, he's got the 182 Omer Street, Vinton County Auditor's Office. I want to show you some of the pictures that I haven't showed you, and then we're going to talk about competency, the new charges, and is she going to be competent after being evaluated? We're going to talk about that with an expert that can say yes or no to that question. All right. So did I show everything I needed besides that? Let's continue. I subbed to channel 53. It could have been a daycare if they had kept it clean. Just saying. All right. So there's that house. Very unsuspecting. When I see a house like this from the outside, nothing's moving, nothing's happening, no children. It doesn't look like you're going to have 16 children in a 12 by 12. Now, does it? Right? But I would expect to find children buried in the backyard, pregnancies that didn't go through and them not go. I don't know. I'm just making this up. That's what I would expect from this House of Horrors. Now it's all crime scened off and people are still going in there and getting pictures. And I'm here for it. So let's take a look at some of these pictures. Guys, that's just a pile of junk when you walk into the main door. It's just piled up. I don't know if that's a main door like their sunroom, but you can see there's a baby bath right there. And it's just piled up of junk. I can't tell past that. Guys, if that doesn't give you nightmares, I don't know what will. All right? I don't want you to have nightmares, but look at that toilet and look at that floor. I don't know about that. A family member mentioned she was pregnant now and went through 10th grade in high school. She had to leave because she was pregnant the second time. All right. So again, we don't have documentation to prove that she's pregnant right now. And the 10th grade high school is still equivalent to about 15 years old. All right. But she sure didn't learn how to clean a toilet or a bathroom. That's for sure. Hey, high school doesn't teach you that, guys. Gotta get some elbow grease in there. And that didn't happen here. There's a watered toilet paper that's just all wet on the floor. It's actually a whole roll of toilet paper and just the grossest of gross. I mean, come on, guys. This is why the prosecutors called this case evil. Okay? That's why they called this evil, because of that. Nobody in their right mind and no children should be in that kind of environment, period. I'm going to move myself for a minute so you guys could No, wait, Little Red, we're getting into that next. She does claim to care about her children and she wants to be reunited with them. But look at the conditions that she put her children in. Look at that. I mean, the babies were eating peas and, the baby stuff probably, and they just tossed it on the floor to rot. Look at the couch, guys. Would anyone sit in this couch? You couldn't pay me to sit on this couch. It looks like it's soiled, like someone pissed and shit their pants and just passed out on it and then got back up and laid back down and someone else came and maybe it was a baby making station. I don't know, but that's unacceptable. And I would classify that as evil as well. Oh, I guess that's how they lived out of their bags. Is that like their suitcases? I don't know, but you could see some foam all torn up in there and just clothes all like ratty and mold. I mean, what's this? That's their living room, y'all. That's the living room. I mean, that gives you an idea of what, if you see something like this, say something and do something. That's unacceptable. What is that? Is that their laundry hanging station above the baby making couch? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but let's continue. There's some more pictures here. I might have got through them, but I'm not sure. Let's double check. I just wanted you to see that living room. They got the back door, the kitchen, the bathroom, front area, guest room. Guys, it's also covered in cigarette smoke from Gary Sr. and Christina that took over the house. They're the ones that took over that house. All right. So I think that's what he was trying to show here is the cigarette smoke that took over. You guys see the ceilings are yellow and the walls are stained. Probably cigarette smoke. All right. Cigarette butts on the floor. It's like they just threw their cigarette and let it extinguish right there. All right. Oh, that couch, y'all. That couch. All right. Look at the ceiling. I know that can't be good for anybody's lungs, right? Am I right? Am I right? I think so. All right. Let's take a look at what Elizabeth wants. All right. Elizabeth wants her children back and she loves them. All right, now look, contact between children rescued from House of Horrors is essential, this psychologist says, and Elizabeth agrees. All she wants is her children back. That's what she states. All right.
Dr. Jeff Gardier, thanks for your time. I mean, just two mind-boggling, horrific cases that we have here. Can you talk a little bit about the psychology behind someone, a parent, who would do this to a child or multiple children, as we're seeing in these cases?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Marnie, for having me. And it's good to hear from Julissa and the hope that she has. When we look at cases like this isn't usually just about child neglect. It's really about a collapse of an entire family's psychological reality. We're talking about isolation, coercive control, trauma, dependency, and then accepting conditions that the rest of us would find just simply unimaginable and certainly.
But guys, I gotta tell you, first let me say thank you, Lori, so much for the support here. Come in and hanging out with us and showing us love. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. And Melinda, thank you, my girl, supporting the channel with the jewels. They're cute. I don't know what they all mean yet, but they're cute. Hey, the real Italian true sleuth. It looks like you got gifted a membership too. Now, here's the deal, guys. Elizabeth Siders knows better. That's her on the left and that's her on the right. She has a 10th grade education and she married Gary Siders Jr. when she was 15, which gave her the opportunity to know right from wrong, clean from dirty, all right, insane from not. All right, let's continue. I just can't imagine her wanting to have her kids back, and the judge is saying we need to deny bond so she can't get out because she's going for the children.
Mental illness, I think, is something that certainly cannot be ruled out, and that may be at the foundation of what we see is going on. I know that there are psychologists who have said that this could be some sort of a cult. And so I think what we need to look at is that a family cult, if that is what is going on here, I have not examined this family, is not about religion or ideology, but more about control, psychological domination, and slow psychological deterioration in a reality that just does not make sense and that can become a house of horrors.
I heard one expert say that, while most.
Thank you for saying that, beauty lover, because I'm wondering why they all have red eyes with the pink around it. Like, I've only seen that, obviously, on something like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Saw's Family, or people that are really just, like, inside of a cave doing meth activities all day. All right? That's the only people I see. We haven't heard anything about the D Rugs yet, which I'm surprised. I haven't heard anything. Yeah, stay jaded. I'm going to stay jaded. We got a new shirt up. I'll show that to you at the end of the episode. All right? Hashtag stay jaded. I know I will. I'm jaded AF today.
Of us know right from wrong, and we see a situation like this and we can't even begin to wrap our minds around this type of abuse that is being alleged, but that they may not even see it that way, that they were doing anything wrong. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think what we're looking at, certainly in these kinds of cases, you have to hold people responsible and culpable for the things that they've done.
Now, you guys know that's the Turpin family. We're literally talking about House of Horror. Suspect asks to see kids, and then we're comparing it to the Turpins. If you haven't seen the Turpin coverage, you might want to go check that out.
Have hurt themselves, but certainly the entire family. That's what's most important. But I think for a person to not see the reality of what they're doing, we're seeing a combination of trauma bonding, emotional dependency, learned helplessness, fear conditioning, identity fusion, and certainly extreme mental illness. And I know that there are certain members of the family that have asked to have psychological evaluations and competency evaluations.
All right. Well, they'll be held accountable, and we'll watch how it plays through the courts. But I want to talk to you about the kids. And Jalissa talked about this a little bit. I mean, there's the emotional, physical abuse.
So mind you guys, initially we thought the kids couldn't communicate. They had no outreach, but they do, and they did. And people have come forward since then to tell us, I was friends online with that kid, or I have experience with that one. So that's not true. I think they were really just scared when law enforcement came, and they didn't want to get taken away because they don't know any better. Hey, Mayhem Miracles, I'm glad you made it. Welcome.
Trauma that they endured while in this environment. But as she said, it's not over then. What are the challenges in trying to get these kids help? And in addition, should they stay together as a family unit, or what is the risk in that?
Yes, Jalissa is absolutely correct. The family should stay together. These children, Marnie, only have themselves. That's all they know. This family, no matter how dysfunctional, pathological the parents, grandparents may be in this, whatever their mental illness is, this is all they know. So we don't want to separate the children. And so it's important, whatever treatment they get that together through family counseling. But even with the individual counseling, it's important that it be under one roof, one center, maybe just one or two therapists who can actually triangulate and get information and help one another. And most importantly, as these children go into foster care or maybe to other family members, I'm not sure, it's really important that they are not separated.
That's a challenge, though, isn't it, Doctor, with 16 kids?
16
I mean, it's one
children.
thing if it's 2 or 3 kids that you're trying to keep together.
And they're charging them with all 16 of them being children. Right now, one of them's 18, so technically they're not a child, but the prosecutors say they're childlike, and they still haven't given us any kind of individual reports, and rightfully so. Right? We don't need to know about that. How is someone going to breed with the son when they see the preview grandpa? Well, because Saw is family, Baja. What are you talking about? I thought everybody lived like this. I thought everybody looked like this. Isn't that what Grandpa's looking like in that hospital nowadays? There he is when he got arrested, and there he is now. Let's get the likes up. We have 166 people. If you like the way that I present true crime, hit the like button for me, all right? All right, let's get back to it. Grandpa.
But I mean, this is a brood of a family. I mean, you've got kids from 18 months to 18 years old.
Absolutely. It is going to be very difficult, but the needs of the few in this case outweigh the needs of the many. And it's really important that these children, no matter what the cost is to social systems, no matter what the work that has to be done, no matter what mountains are moved, these children need to stay in contact. So even if they do go into foster care, Marnie, it's important that the foster care families are meeting on a weekly basis, and the children are able to see one another as often as they can.
All right. Appreciate the insight. Dr. Jeff Gardier, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Marnie.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation.
Ah! All right, so now we're going to start getting into the competency. All right, we've been here for 50 minutes, and we're going to get into the competency. Did the external family know? Someone had to. Yeah, well, check this out. We definitely got to post my playlist because we've covered this to where people, the dollar store lady knew about this. She knew that there was a bunch of children that came in smelly, kind of smelling like urine, and they were buying a bunch of oil. Neighbors didn't. Family members had suspicion, but not to the point where they could turn them in. Right now, this is just me going back to other long episodes that we've covered. All right, let me take a look at the most up-to-date stuff really quick, and then we'll continue because I want to see what. Well, first of all, let me show you this. So prosecutors are alleging that she needs to stay in jail, locked up, no bond, no kids. But Elizabeth Sider's attorney, now he already was seeking a mental competency evaluation and an evaluation for legal insanity. All right. Now Elizabeth Siders has pleaded not guilty to 16 counts of child endangerment after giving birth to 18 children since 2008. Okay. So this lawyer is fighting for her to get out, and they wanted her to be not guilty by reason of insanity. All right, let's take a look at the latest update on this, and then we will get into that video that came out yesterday about this. How's everybody doing today? Come on in, hit that like button. I will definitely chat with y'all and answer some questions when I'm not reading. All right, today's August 19th. This article came out yesterday, August 18th, 2026, and it's giving us an update. Prosecutors seek to file new charges against the mom. Amen. I think she's trying to play on people's heartstrings. I think she's trying to get the prosecutor and anybody that's covering this case to be like, oh, poor me. But I don't know how, because she says she's not a victim, which doesn't align, right? Okay, so prosecutors say they're seeking to file additional charges, and then you see all the people here. Elizabeth Siders, 33, charged along with her husband, Gary Siders, 36, and her in-laws, Christina Siders, 67, and Gary Siders, 76. All right, they all got 17 counts of endangering children after the horrific conditions were found on the property. Guys, investigators have revealed very little about what they found in that home. All right. They describe it as pure evil. And in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what that means. Did they find sex toys? Did they find bondage things? Did they find videos? What is the evil? I know it's dirty there. And I know the people, the family looks evil. But what is the evil part that we don't know about? All right. Now, hospitals have placed the children in custody. Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services, hospitals, and placed in custody. After the arrests, a judge ordered each defendant, all of them held on $300,000 bond. Elizabeth Siders' attorney asked for the bond to be reduced, and it was denied. All right. So her attorney wanted to get her to wear a GPS device, comply with any instructions, and what did she say? And extreme poverty. Her attorney wrote in a motion that his client does not have the means to post any bond, and that they've been unable to post the current bond that's been set. So the judge says we're keeping it that way. Monday came along, and the prosecutors responded to the defense's request, urging that the judge keep the bond in place. The motions note multiple serious pending charges that are to come from the grand jury and the competency. The defense has requested Elizabeth Sider's competency evaluation, and they're saying she's a personal risk until we know how competent she really is. All right. Then we hear about prosecutors signaling more charges in their motion, saying the defendant has serious new felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. Didn't elaborate on it, and I still can't find anything because the document is sealed. The documents are sealed and heavily redacted. All right, let's take a look into more charges and what that means. And this will give you kind of a recap. You'll see all the children up on the screen, how many, dates, etc. For those of you that never heard about this case.
The mother of 16 children accused of hiding her children.
You remember when we initially presented this case? I think everybody's floor was on, their jaw was on the floor with the children and the dates that she had them, right? Look at that. 18 children, 16 were rescued, and 2 of them were the twins that were conjoined and born only to live for an hour or so. All right. So look at that. One woman has been giving birth to these children. We still don't know the paternity, or that we still don't know what the DNA is going to say and who's the actual parent, grandparent, etc. We have no idea. Again, we don't know what they're referring to about evil that they found in the house. We only saw surface level, the dirty feces and urine. We only got to see that because people went in the house and showed us.
And causing them serious harm once out of jail. But the prosecutor says Elizabeth should stay put. I'll tell you all of the reasons why. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is
Let's see why.
But the prosecutor has now responded in writing, and William Archer is essentially saying, not so fast, Judge. Keep her in. And his reasons for that are interesting, to say the very least. I'm going to go through all of this for you. Elizabeth's husband, Gary Siders Jr., and her mother-in-law, Christina Siders, are still in jail too. Christina Siders' lawyer has also asked that she be released on bail. Gary Siders Sr. is out of jail on a signature bond. The 73-year-old grandfather was released from jail because he has a serious medical condition. And since he was in jail, the county would have been responsible for his medical bills. And the prosecutor said those medical bills could have caused the county to go bankrupt.
Interesting.
That's how poor Vinton County is. One inmate's medical.
Well, guys, you guys should talk about this in chat while we're covering this, because postpartum used to be something that was not talked about. People didn't talk about it, right? It was kind of a hidden thing. And I've noticed nowadays, everybody seems to have postpartum. It's just one of those things that you get when you're pregnant, and you got to regulate your hormones and then move forward. So it makes me wonder what happened in this case. Was it because of the dopamine release? Was it because they're a cult and they wanted to grow their cult? Was it because Gary Jr. and Gary Sr. said, you're going to keep having babies, lady? What was it? 5-gallon bucket size. Whoa. Hey, Carol, good to see you guys. Come on in and hit the like button for us. All right. I had it everybody seems to have. I'm telling you, who didn't have postpartum? How do you have time for postpartum? Well, they do nowadays, my friend.
Bills could have sent the county into a financial tailspin. But right now, the county is responsible for the care of Elizabeth Siders, the mother of the 16 children, her husband, Gary Jr., and her mother-in-law, Christina Siders. In the booking video of Elizabeth from June 30th, she was noticeably the only Siders family member who wasn't handcuffed. Just looking at her, her body language appeared to be much.
So that's where I see her being pregnant coming in, is right there.
Who wasn't handcuffed. Just looking at her.
Watch.
Her body.
You guys see right there. But again, she just had children. She had children that were 18 months and younger. So is that belly from her just giving birth not too long ago, or is she pregnant again? I guess we're going to have to find out, huh? Hey, Midnight Lace, good to see you, my friend. everybody seems to have had postpartum depression. I now Melanie says I had postpartum so bad I couldn't leave the hospital without an appointment with a psychiatrist. I literally didn't know any of this, guys. You guys know I have 2 children. Those children were birthed by the mother of them, the other mother. All right. And that wasn't me. I didn't give birth. I didn't have to go through postpartum. I know that happened to Mrs. Guilty, but it didn't happen to me because I didn't have to go through it. But I went through it with her. And it seems like everybody nowadays simply gets postpartum. You treat it and then you move on. Hopefully you're not like Lindsay Clancy and nobody hears you. All right. But yeah, she looks pregnant there. If you guys don't see it, I don't know what we see then, because I see a belly there. All right. And we haven't seen her much since to say the baby's growing or that she is. We just don't know.
Language appeared to be much different from her husband's and her in-laws. She cowered. Her shoulders were rounded.
Guys, look at that. I'm sorry, but I have to. What is up with that greasy ass hair? Is her hair wet or is it greasy? You see that? Anyway, my hair's not wet or greasy, but hers looks like it is. Okay, so Tammy says she is, but I can't find documentation that verifies that. That's the problem. I don't want to put it out there if I don't have the receipts to say, yes, she's pregnant.
And she was practically hunched over. She seemed scared. This, coupled with how Elizabeth appeared in court and in her booking photo, and the fact that she had 18 children over about 18 years, made people wonder and question whether Elizabeth was the victim of something nefarious. When asked by a local TV station whether Elizabeth Siders was a victim, her lawyer, Tommy Stolley, said Elizabeth didn't consider herself a victim, but he was still looking into that possibility. Here's what prosecutor William Archer said when asked whether Elizabeth was a victim at a press conference back on July 8th.
According to her attorney, she's not a victim. So we'll let him decide how he wants to address his representation.
So just quickly, Tammy, much love to you. Thanks for coming and supporting the channel. I just read a document and showed it from the booking, and Elizabeth Siders checked, no, she's not pregnant. And other documentation says they can't tell us because it's redacted and sealed. So, I mean, I've been speculating the whole time that she's been pregnant, but again, we can, in my opinion, all we want. I just don't have proof of it. Until I have solid proof, I won't say for sure that she is. Right? Can you imagine that stain on her pillowcase? Yikes.
Representation of her.
So it doesn't appear at this point that William Archer's opinion has changed because he has formally objected to any modification of Elizabeth's bond as it stands right now. Archer wrote in a memorandum opposing the request for bail modification. This court should deny the bond modification for several reasons. First, the defendant is facing multiple serious pending charges, multiple F2s involving serious physical harm to her children, and thus is a flight risk and a potential risk to the victims in this case. Second, the defendant has filed a competency motion.
So you guys know court just happened on Monday. And so that's what we're going over right now, the rulings in court and where we are in the case. I know they did talk about that. They talked about the smell being so bad. So that makes sense that they made them shower. Guys, no one's going to want to be in a cell with them either, smelling the way that they did. The thought of them being involved in some kind of studies or genetic program. I hadn't thought about it. What did that come from somewhere? Hey, Mr. Bot, Mama Sage, you had 3 in a row and your last 9 years later worked full time. So if I had it, I was too busy to notice. Well, there you go. Nowadays, it's much different.
Consequently, she is at personal risk until her competency is known. Third, the defendant has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. Did you catch that last part? William Archer wrote that Elizabeth Siders has new serious felony charges that will be considered by the grand jury. That sounds like those charges are in addition to.
But I do wonder what they are. And I'm going to speculate a little here. I'm going to speculate and I'm going to guess that these additional charges come from the 2 children that were in ICU and 24 hours away from death. Okay? Absolutely. Gianna, I've seen wrong turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I I think there's a Wrong Turn 7. I've seen all of them, and that's what they look like. I didn't even know they made 7 until I sat down and just watched them. Gail, I don't know if I got your email. Will you send it again? I'm not sure, my friend. I got lots of emails, so let me drop my email below. If you want to send that again, I can let you know. All right, let's continue.
The 16 child endangering charges she already faces. Judge Rogers has already ordered a competency evaluation for Elizabeth Siders at the request of her lawyer. The evaluation will also include an evaluation to determine whether Elizabeth Siders has a mental illness that would make her not guilty by reason of insanity.
See,
Tommy Stolley had said previously that Elizabeth Siders wants to be released from jail so she can be reunited with her children, but that seems highly unlikely to happen anytime soon. Vinton County is actually seeking permanent custody.
They don't want them to have him back at all. Now listen, the charges are all across the board the same, Melanie. They're all 17 counts of child endangerment. That's it. That's all. But that doesn't account for the 2 children that were near death. And we don't know about the incest yet because we've been impatiently waiting for the DNA results to come back so we can see them. I mean, we're going to assume that right now because the way it looks, but we just simply don't know yet. Thank you, Mama Sage.
Of the children.
Creepy.
Oduke invoices.
No.
A request for a bail modification. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to bring in Ron O'Brien. He is the former prosecutor of Franklin County, Ohio. That's in Columbus, Ohio, to the north of Vinton County. Ron, thanks so much for coming back on.
Oh, very glad to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm really interested in your thoughts on this prosecutor, William Archer, coming out after all of these weeks and weeks after these requests for bail modifications were filed and saying, we oppose any bail modification for these 3 reasons. And the first reason being, one of the 3 reasons he gave for Elizabeth Siders, at least, was the fact that the issue of her competency has been raised. What do you make of that?
Well, I think first, in order to do a competency exam, the psychologists like to control the location and have it in a controlled setting. And if she was released on bond too, there's no assurance that she would meet the examiner at the time and place identified. So examiners like to interview the suspect and give them any tests, psychological or otherwise, while they're in the county jail if they're going to be released on bond later. That's
She straight up was like, "Bleh, oh, I put on my shirt." Now, listen, guys, I've got all the charges here. Every single one of them has a name with a social security number, a birth date, and a complaint, and they're all the same. So I really gotta speculate that in the next episode, we're gonna find out that the grand jury gave her more serious charges for the 2 children that were damn near lifeless. All right. So let me just show you real quick, because there's a lot of you that weren't here when I covered the other episodes of this, but all of them look identical to this. All right. June 30th, 2026, stamped. All right. This is Elizabeth Siders. There's the complaint, endangering children. And then we go on with the legal jargon about the date of offense and the complaints and the children under 18, endangering children, F2, count 2, complaint being duly sworn, Elizabeth, right? Again and 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 again. And then signed, sealed, delivered. All of their paperwork looks just like that. All right. Did I say again enough times? All right, let's move on. I am not a victim, she says.
It's up to the court, but I think they prefer that controlled atmosphere.
As things stand right now, we know what we know. We know that the 16 children were taken from the house on June 30th. We know that that 3 of the adults remain in jail. The children are in therapeutic foster care. This prosecutor knows a whole heck of a lot more than we do. He knows the inner workings of the investigation, what brought them there in the first place. He is calling Elizabeth a flight risk. Her attorney, on the other hand, has said that she doesn't have any money. She can't post bail, so you should just let her out and put a GPS bracelet on her. So is there maybe something this prosecutor is hearing on jail calls that she's might be saying to family members that's really raising his concern that she could potentially flee?
Well, I'm quite sure he's listening to any jail calls by her as well as the others. They're permitted to.
No, I want to say this. Like, I am not rooting for a mother to fail. I'm not rooting for her to get out and do this again. We're rooting for the children. But, guys, listen, hear me out. Somebody earlier said the longer that Elizabeth is locked up, probably the better for her mental health. And then she can break those ties with the cult-like mentality. And the reason I want that so much for her, well, number one, for her, right? Number two, she's very fertile and she can go on to have more children. And guys, she probably will. All right. She probably will. Hey, Angela, thank you. Good to see you. Regarding the junior indecent exposure, I wonder if he was pleasing himself or urinating in public. I'm sorry. You know what, SP, that's totally fine with me. I think that he was probably doing a combination of things. I don't see why you would go on your front porch to wave to the world 4 separate times if you're not gaining something. You saw the house and the scope of it. He could have went in the backyard. He could have went in the side yard. He could have pissed off the roof. He could have done anything. But instead, I think the indecent exposure was more than just urinating in public. All right. I think he was probably pleasuring himself in addition to that. All right, let's continue.
To do that and have a big sign next to the jail telephone that the calls are monitored. Typically, they don't listen to phone calls between the defendant and their own lawyer, but
Sure.
if he's on there talking to family or friends, they are picking that up. Interesting that he also identified her as a flight risk, and I don't know what they would know that we don't know. They obviously are aware of some investigative information, but she doesn't have any money. She doesn't have, I don't think, a bunch of outside support.
Damn.
I'm not sure where she would go either. The crime scene itself, there's a whole lot of reasons.
Y'all, we all have to get that merch. Straight up. I'm on a mission now. All right. I'm on a mission to give out #StayJaded stuff. Stickers, hats, whatever. All right. You heard that, Tiff, my girl Tiff? My girl Tiff's the one that makes our merch. So there you go. Teresa, did you get your tank top? Teresa needs her tank top. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you, girl. Tell your daughter I say hello. And I hope she had a good day today. And Dave. Can't forget Dave. I love Dave. Yeah, I'm going to be wearing one real soon as well. All right. #I'll stay jaded. I'll change my name to Jaded if I have to.
Where she doesn't have stability, should she be released? But on top of that, she's looking at multiple, up to 16 second-degree felonies that have maximum penalties of 8 years. So she's looking at decades in prison, and that's enough motive to flee, or at least for the state to argue that she has a reason to flee.
William Archer also said that Elizabeth is a potential risk to the victims in this case. Now, these potential victims, the 16 children ranging in age from age 18 to 1.5, they're all in therapeutic foster care. So, you would hope.
So initially, when we covered this case, we sat there staring at the screen and looking at each child and how long they were in between birthing the next one and having twins. And it's almost impossible. Thank you, Gail. I'll check it out in a minute. It's almost impossible for us to think that she was pregnant back to back to back to back to back, and she had all of those children with one man. And that's why we're speculating that some of those children may be the children's children, if that makes sense. We absolutely speculate about incest. All right. We speculate about addiction and drugs in the house. The train went tracks or across the street. So he probably went to the front porch whenever the train went by. Interesting. So people can see him on the train doing that. All right. I know. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you do, Sadie's mama. Yes, you need a wrench too. We need to give you a wrench just so you could have one.
Hope that, she's not going to be able to learn their location since she is accused of endangering the children. But this is interesting to me that the a prosecutor thinks she's a potential risk to their safety after her lawyer, Tommy Stolly, has said publicly, like, she wants to be reunited with her children. She loves her children. She's getting care packages at the jail, and she's asking, can I give this stuff to my kids? So it sounds to me like
she's more of a threat to her children than help, because I think those children do need peace. Now, Lori, I hate to say this, but I think that the kids don't realize that right now. I think the kids, maybe some of them might, but when you're in a cult-like mentality and you've been there for 18 years, right? You've been conditioned to be that way. You've been conditioned to be in a room with a bunch of other kids and all kinds of stuff. They wouldn't even talk to law enforcement or say their names or write it. So I think they need to break the conditioning. I know the children are seeking therapy right now. They've given them therapy and different outlets to help the children. So I really do hope that they come to that sense at some point, knowing that their mother, father, and grandparents are locked up and can't hurt them. All right. Because they really do. Elizabeth really does think that she wants her kids back. And if she doesn't get those kids back, she'll be giving birth to another child before you know it. All right. She seriously hurt children bad, but Gary Jr. has the same. They all have the same charges, Gail. I think I have those documents. I pulled one up right now. I've got all of the criminal complaints for Gary, Elizabeth, Gary Sr., and Christina. All right. I'll check my email, but I think I have them. Dave. There's Dave. We love you, Dave. Come on in.
There's a lot here under the surface that we don't know about. When you read between the lines of this, what does it say to you?
Well, I think just by virtue of the fact that she is suggesting she wants reunited with the children, that should she be released, that she might make an effort to have contact with them. Obviously, the placements for the children would not be known, but given the whole very bizarre circumstances surrounding this case, they probably have a concern that she might try and find out where the children are. Obviously, a proposed ankle monitor. We all know ankle monitors fairly regularly get, at least I have had defendants cut them off their ankle.
Raise your hand if you think ankle monitors are going to regulate anything. Okay, that's enough. That's all I need. Y'all know. How many cases have we covered together where ankle monitors don't mean a damn thing? They get cut off and the people continue to commit crimes. And we say, why did that happen? They were being monitored, but they weren't. All right.
And no longer subject to monitoring, which would fit into their argument regarding flight as well as attempt to contact the children.
There's also another little tidbit of information in here, very interesting and very important bit of information regarding Elizabeth Siders. The prosecutor says that she's already facing these 16 charges of child endangering, and these are F2s. And that includes causing, basically serious harm to a child. It's neglect, not providing a safe environment, causing serious physical harm, things of that nature. But he's saying when this goes to grand jury, he's going to ask the grand jurors to indict her on new charges. So that makes me think this is in addition to those 16 child endangering charges. What does that say to you? Because I don't know what other charges. My mind is spinning. What other charges could Elizabeth Siders face aside from child endangering?
Well, that was the most striking thing in the memo that the state filed opposing reduction in bond. And I think it's showing some cards to the public as well as to defense counsel that, look, you're looking at child endangering cases, but there's more coming and it's more serious. And that is also why she might try and flee. And that's
I mean, this is a really small county. They obviously don't have much money for anything because they said grandpa was going to break the bank if they kept him in jail. So, I mean, yeah, I think I don't think Vinton County has a lot of money for this kind of thing. And that's a lot of resources, Nisa and crew. That's a lot of resources for any town, county to take on. That's a lot. 16 children, two of them which had to be in intensive care unit for quite some time. And the fact that they didn't have the children on radar for school, they didn't have the children on radar for any kind of CPS, anything. Nobody saw the kids come out during the day. They were conditioned by that family to hide, to stay inside, and to not tell anyone what was going on, which leads me to wonder what was going on.
It's also wise you might try and reach your children to talk to them, to influence them one way or another in what their statements may be. In relating to the endangering children, but any other offenses that may have occurred while they're locked in this small room for many years. The key to this, I think, is, among other things, is it's long going. It wasn't just one discrete child endangering where a mother burned a child on the arm, and that's the basis for the single child endangering. This went on for years where they weren't sent to school, where they were locked up, that they weren't allowed out, that their life was very much restricted. All those things add up to an equation of a long standing neglect and abuse that below the radar should add up to something more than what we know.
I don't know what other charges she could be facing. I don't want to speculate here, but I think that, it goes without saying, the prosecutors already publicly said, these children were hidden. I mean, he said that to the county commissioners in a meeting. They were the hidden children of Omer Street.
Now, we saw a lot of people in the area talking, and we saw neighbors coming out saying they didn't know any of that. Hey, Cynthia, good to see you, my friend. Richard, hi from Pennsylvania. Such a very sad story, but it can have a much happier ending if we can get those children adopted. Hopefully, some of them, most of them will stay together. I don't see how that's possible, but therapy and time and healing will definitely help. All right. So this is not a case where I'm like, oh, 16 kids died or something like that. That's the upside to it. I pray the kids are singing like a little bird. I hope so too, Inquisitive P. I really do. I really, really do. Oh, well, I pay the bills. I hope so, Angela. I hope so. That's what we want.
He likes that a TV station calls them that. And the county is seeking permanent custody. There's not going to be any reunification. If the county is saying to the courts, we're seeking permanent custody of these children, I think that is signaling that this is incredibly serious and reunification is unlikely.
I think you're exactly correct. This case, ordinarily, this kind of case, even though this is a case of its own, exclusive kind, a case like this starts with a request for temporary custody to children's either on an emergency basis or otherwise. And then you do an investigation, you see what you have, and then you look at the family unit and look at relatives or others that the child might be placed at. But here,
which we've already been there, done that, and that's not possible. None of the family members have said, I could have taken those children or I can take them now. It's a lot. It's a lot. And they have to be happier away from that, but you got to remember their state of mind isn't like any of ours. There's no way that it can be. Yeah, thank you, Cheeky. Exactly. And good night, Kathy. Thank you for coming. If you can't sleep, come on back. All right, come on back and say hello. Hey, Bree, good to see you. Thank you for coming and supporting the channel today. How are you doing? All right.
They're starting off right from the get-go, seeking permanent custody, which again, as you say, says to everyone concerned that we don't think reunification with the parents of these children, the way they've been treated, is ever going to be in the best interest of those children.
And that's the legal standard in the state of Ohio.
Yes.
Is the best interest of the child. It is in most states, I believe. What is in the best interest of the child? And there must be some evidence that we are not privy to that goes beyond these are just poor people living in extreme poverty.
See, I gotta say this, man. You could be poor, you could be in poverty, right? I'm here in the Bay Area. There's so many people that are homeless or they stay in the shelters, but they don't live like this. So Mama Sage, you're right. An Amish family could handle 16 kids and beautifully, I'm sure. I don't know what goes on in the Amish community. I'm just saying, when we see them, we see Amish communities, they look clean. You don't hear about feces smells and kids that can't say their name, talk, or write. So right there, handling 16 kids. What do you consider that? Hey, Rebecca. I clicked shop, nothing happened. Tiff, where you at, girl? That's a problem. If you guys are looking on the guilty of crime, click here. Then it goes to shop all. It should go right to it. I'm going to let you figure that out, Tiff. All right. It's good. 16 kids, 18 of them. 2 of them died because they were conjoined. I don't know if they died because they were conjoined, but 2 of the twins that were conjoined died almost an hour after she gave birth. Yes, we do. Stay jaded, mother truckers.
Because that's what a couple of the defense attorneys have said thus far. They're just poor. They're living in extreme poverty. Ron, they're not in school. They're not going to school. They're moving around to avoid children's services. Does this not signal to you that this goes beyond just being impoverished?
Certainly. I think there's very much information below the radar that we don't know yet, but we will find out when the case goes to court that would indicate that the state believes that no time in the future should mom or dad or their grandparents have access to these children.
I mean, that's just creepy alone, right? That's not an environment for baby making. And that's what makes all of us wonder, how does one person give birth to so many children, let alone twins, and then conjoined twins? And then after the conjoined twins died, right after she got pregnant again and had another set of children. I don't know if it was a set of children right after. I have to look at it, but she had more children right after, and not even 9 full months. That's what's making me question the validity of her giving birth to all these children. How is that possible?
That have been so neglected for so many years.
If you love digging into the details of crime cases as much as I do, you must download the Law and Crime Plus app.
Blah, 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 blah.
Conditions, and her lawyer has also asked.
She looks creepy too.
Now let's move on to Christina Siders. She is grandma, and grandma is in jail under the same bail conditions, and her lawyer has also asked that she receive a bail modification and be released on bail, GPS monitor, etc. As it stands right now, all of them have to post like $300,000 or at least a portion of that with a surety or something to that effect, and then wear a GPS monitor. As you stated earlier, those can routinely be manipulated, cut off, and honestly, you can cut off a GPS monitor and it might send an alert, and somebody might not even see it for a day or two, correct?
Yes, that frequently will happen, at least here in Franklin County. The systems that they use, as soon as it is cut off, it sends an alert to the pretrial release program that then will contact victims.
Yeah, we didn't watch any of the body cam footage together because there's so many other cases, but we absolutely will, Lynn. If you see the progress in this case, the fact that it was in court on Monday and they're moving it along with a grand jury, we're absolutely going to find out the DNA and who's the mother, it's going to get sorted out, Lynn. There's no way they're going to move forward to that degree without knowing who's who and who gave birth to what and who pregnated who. That was the first thought that we all had on our mind, was that. Who's the mother of all of them? Who's the father of all of them? Were any of the kids birthing any of the other kids? And yes, Bree, I messaged you back. We're all good. No worries, my friend. None whatsoever. Thank you for coming and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. All right. Those people probably, that's why they showered, because you've got all these people here digging through their shirts and this guy's got holy, sweaty, nasty, stinky. And you know that they talked about that, right? I don't even think that they had showered at this point. Grandpa probably did because he's in the orange scrubs, but these people came straight from the house. So, yeah.
Council and say that the GPS has been disrupted, but I don't know what kind of system they may have down there. But more than that, the GPS is not monitored in real time. It is kind of like a look back. If it gets cut off, or if she would attempt to contact the children or go somewhere she shouldn't go, if there's restrictions on her movement, they aren't seeing that until they look for it. And that's one of the difficulties that typically occurs. You can put them in a certain restrictive zone, but unless they're going to give her house arrest, so to speak, where they can put it within 100 yards of.
What house would she be arrested in? There's no houses. The house that they've abandoned on Omer Street will probably be demolished. They talked about it being condemned. Then the second house prior to that, they left in shambles as well. All right. So where would she possibly be house arrested at? Right? I would have put gloves up to my elbows if I had to touch them, and masks. Right. I'm surprised they didn't have masks. The girl's poor body. I agree, Tammy. I 110% agree. And I do have empathy for her, knowing that she was married off at 15. And that's not old enough to make that decision to start just popping out children. However, at this point, she's away from them, and she's saying she's not a victim. She's saying she doesn't have mental health illness. She's saying she just wants her kids back, which goes to show me she does have some kind of mental health issues, even thinking so. With the way that the kids were found almost just hours away from death, and the other ones, no way. So there's sympathy to an extent. All right. The grandfather in the house arrest, there is going to be no house arrest. There's not even any house for them to go. Once you have a C-section, then the other ones are usually C-sections. What about that couch, Angela? Did you see that couch? I think that was their baby making station. Just saying. I don't know. Unless they were doing it on the floor.
The location where she's going to be staying, and then it would be programmed to alert the probation department or pretrial release. But absent that kind of restriction, then can't monitor it in real time. And often somebody with a ankle monitor will be out committing new crimes, and it's good evidence to prosecute them for the new crimes, but you don't have a real-time monitoring to observe or prevent them.
I don't even think that they should put anyone on ankle monitors like that, because ankle monitors, if they're not going to be monitored in real time, then why are we putting violent criminals with ankle monitors and letting them go? And you guys know what I mean by that. You absolutely know what I mean by that. All right. Jocelyn Nungrai, the two men, ankle bracelets. They cut those bracelets off, and two of them raped her for hours. All right. Yeah. But they don't monitor. So what's the point of even doing that with these violent criminals if they're not going to monitor? And you got to admit, more times than not, these people on monitors are out there committing additional crimes. And the crimes they're committing are not a crime like, oh, I stole something, or they're not small misdemeanors. They're really bad, evil felonies. Just, yeah, you never hear, yeah, some guy got on his, he got out with his ankle monitor and he went to, Walgreens and stole some candy or whatever. That's not what you hear.
Crimes.
So Grandma Christina, William Archer says, we have not 3 reasons like we do with Elizabeth to oppose a bail modification for her, but we have.
I almost forgot. I'm about to gift the membership, guys. Do me a favor, hit the like button and drop a comment. Then you can get a membership, hopefully. 2 C-sections. First one was an emergency. That's typically what happens, Christina. That's the deal. That's the deal. You're right. There can be bro cis babies. They're never getting out. Where would they get the money? Well, that's why they're fighting. The prosecutors are fighting to keep that bond because they're asking for a bond reduction. They're saying these people are poor. And when I say poor, they have no financial means. So drop the bail down or drop it all together. That's what the defense is saying. The prosecution is singing a much different tune. Hey, Justice Jane, good to see you, my friend. Crazy Jane's been over here being crazy. All right, I'm going to gift the membership. Let me hit play.
2 reasons. And the first is a similar reason. It says she's facing multiple serious pending charges, the F2s for child endangering involving serious physical harm to the grandchildren, and thus is a flight risk. So he's saying grandma is also a potential flight risk and a potential risk to the victims.
Oh, grandpa. Guys, saw his family. Grandma, grandpa. That's how they talk with each other, and it's just all out of sorts. Oh, grandma.
In this case.
And at least it seems to me that the same rules apply to all of them, except perhaps maybe the grandfather, who seems to have sufficient mental health issues that he may not share the same kind of either flight risk or threat of harm to the victims or witnesses. But it seems to me that all of them are facing decades as a potential prison sentence.
And decades won't last for Christina Siders too long, or Gary, right? We know he's barely hanging in there. Now, it's interesting to see this smug prick, Gary Siders Jr. I don't know why his face looks smug to me, but he looks better than anyone else does, right? He's got his hair semi-cut. He's, you see his big belly in there. He's eating good, but the kids aren't. He doesn't have the greasy white hair going on. I think that Gary Siders Sr. orchestrated a lot of this initially, because remember, he was 18 years old when she was 15, and they approved it. They married it. They took her to another state, and and this was not the only time that happened in this family. We also saw other instances in this family where there was a 48-year-old man that married how old was this woman? You're welcome. I didn't gift the membership yet. Did I just gift the member? I can't even know. I don't even know if I did or not. Hold on. I did. I started talking with y'all and I got caught up in it. All right. Awesome. Thank you. And Rebecca, member for 18 months. I'm always creeping on all your videos. Love GOC. Well, we love you back and thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Damn Yale. Where's damn Yale? All right, let's continue.
They're also on notice that the state is going to seek permanent custody of the children. So when you ask yourself, what reason do they have to stick around looking at decades in prison, there's very few reasons that they have to stick around.
He does not say in here that grandma is going to face serious new charges as he did with
grandma
Elizabeth. So is it possible that she only faces those 16 child endangering charges? He obviously left that out of the opposition to her bail modification.
That's a lot. 16. Actually, they keep going back between 16 and 17. All right. I'll look it up right now. Again, this is like, I don't know, my 10th or umpteenth video that I've covered this case. So I'll take a look how old she was versus him. 14, 15. She shouldn't have been getting married. They shouldn't have took her across state lines to marry her, bottom line, and then just keep knocking her up. Okay, still keep an eye on him. He's grimy. Oh, man. Central call Chris. Wife, Cheeky just picked up the Jader shirt. I didn't even know that was available yet. Let me take a look. Let me show you real quick what Central Cali just picked up. I just saw this. I didn't even know that this existed until a little while ago. And that's me flipping people off yesterday. All right. That's literally me on that shirt. Except, Tiff, you made me a little prettier. Thank you. She put some eyelashes on me so I look a little bit more girly. Thank you. I don't want to look like some man being a Floco. All right. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys hit the like button, sub up, make sure you're get all notifications. Hey, Killing Time and NE. Good to see you. All right, let's continue. We got more. We're not even done.
What does that say to you?
Well, it says that mom and likely dad are the primary offenders here, and grandma and grandpa were in the house and maybe didn't take control, maybe didn't prevent them from causing.
Now, we don't have documentation to show that, but from what we've learned, grandma and grandpa are the ones that originally rented that house. I think that house was them too. We see a picture of them on the porch. They look completely different at that time. And then the others moved in from the Gallia home. So yeah, if law enforcement, prosecutors, whoever, the search warrants found evil things in that house besides the mold and the smoke and the bugs and the feces, what else was in there that they're calling evil? And what are these grandparents being charged for? What are the child endangerment charges for? The 16 of them, right? Now, there were some children, like I said, that were hours away from death. Where do those charges reflect?
In the atmosphere that existed, but it sounds to me like they're more passive participants than active participants.
And then we also have the competency issue that William Archer writes about, that basically she's at personal risk until her competency is known, because that's been raised by her counsel.
Right. And at least in terms of competency, they
So just quickly, Teresa, we got you covered. Even though Tiff only might have one thing up, she'll make you a tank top with stage. She'll do the same thing for you. You can order it and Tiff will hook you up. I promise. And she's putting it up right now. So ask and you shall receive. Sadie's mama, I printed from community tab, coloring Jay's tats. That's funny. We're going to do a book of my tattoos and then we're going to find out it was very inappropriate. No, I don't think so. I do not think so. I think those are going to stay in place, Carol, and new charges will come in for Elizabeth, which is the mother and the person that was supposed to protect her children.
Want to be assured that she's not a risk of harm to herself or to others. And that is something that would be looked into during the competency exam. And so at this point, I can see why they are saying, look, let's look at this. There's competency issues. There's flight risk. There's
now this is just a self-defense thing. This is just a not self-defense. This is just a defense, in my opinion. So I'm going to pop that down real quick because we do need to talk about the competency and what the evaluation is going to entail. Now, I love this because Dr. Dobson explains the process on how this could work and what we're going to see. All right, they're going to see that about Elizabeth Sider. She's got to be found competent to stand trial. And what does that mean? What does competent mean in this judicial system? All right, what does that mean? Well, let's look. Let's take a look together, and then we'll talk a little more. Let's look at this.
It looked like she had been crying quite a bit. She looked distraught.
Get this. According to the latest order from the judge, Elizabeth Siders has to be found competent enough to stand trial in order for her to enter a not guilty by reason of insanity plea. This is a woman now accused, along with her husband and her in-laws, in one of the most closely watched child welfare cases in Ohio.
Really, we were caught off guard and surprised to find that 16 kids were in this home after serving a warrant on another incident.
I mean, can you even imagine what to do with those children, right? Sadie's mama, you're a Virgo, right? Yeah, slap that DNA on that like button, guys. Make sure you hit the notifications.
But there's a question that has to be answered before this case can move forward. Is Elizabeth Siders competent to stand trial? Right. And oh my gosh, I thought I knew what a competency exam was. I had no
Until
idea
now.
because this isn't just someone sitting across from Elizabeth asking her a bunch of questions. I had to call in forensic psychologist Dr. Leslie Dobson. She has done a ton of competency exams. So listen to this.
You're actually in a mock trial. So we set up a whole trial room. I acted as a DA or a prosecutor or a judge. The patients who were doing well would act in certain roles, and we try and see if you can get through putting your plea forward and you understand.
Wait, a mock trial? So somebody can be found incompetent and then go through competency restoration to see if they can actually stand trial.
Now, I got to tell you guys something too. Like, I mean, I have experience with just knowing about this type of thing, and I've seen it unfold where people use competency as a mean for defense, right? Obviously, everybody's probably watching the Lindsay Clancy case, which, by the way, I'm watching, but I'm not covering it because I've never given birth. I don't know about what her postpartum or all those pills, and I don't want to judge too harshly. Okay. But in this case, we know that when you put out that you're not competent, like these people are doing, in my opinion, it's for their own defense. Okay. Now what happens is things will stay stagnant. They won't go to trial. There won't be a grand jury trial. They'll stay stagnant until they are competent. Now, mind you, Lori Vallow played that role for over a year. Her and Chad Daybell, they were on trial together, and Lori said, I'm not competent. They used that defense. They cut ties with each other. He did his own. She did her own. Well, guess what? She was able to finally pass her competency, and then she became her own lawyer. So that's what happens. It's just going to bog down the case. And then if law enforcement says, I don't have any more time for this, we're running out of money, it's costing too much, let's see if she'll take a plea deal. Okay, that's what happens next. Thank you, Justice Jane. And yes, Tiff, my girl Tiff, is covering that over on Ghost. So go sub up to that. It's free to subscribe. Lots and lots of updates every day. And thank you. I will read that. Justice for the victims. Cora, 5, Dawson, 3, and Callan, 8 months old. Rest in peace, little ones. Thank you. Assistant District Attorney Shannon Buckingham and Jennifer Sprague for fighting for the kids. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. All right. Yeah, the Valho is a wacko. Man, I feel so bad. Who doesn't feel for Colby? Does everybody in my chat follow Colby, Lori Vallow's son? Oh, my heart goes out to him, guys. That's the there's a comment of the day. Quite the motley crew. Love it. That's the true definition of a motley crew.
To a part of the criminal justice system that most of us never see. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. We're going to be updating this case and all of the other cases that you're obsessed with. This one has a lot going on. Now let's get into it.
Hell yeah, let's get
Fair
into
share
it.
of...
Shout out to you, Richard, 52, August 22nd, this Saturday. I don't know if you're still a Leo, but let us know. And happy early birthday to you. All right, shout out to you. Hopefully she don't know where the kids are. Well, they're not letting her out. Yeah, Colby is a survivor, but he breaks my heart. Brittany Wilson, Ghost is ghost.org. I have it up. I think I have it up right here. No. Tiff will drop it, or one of the mods. It's ghost.org, guilty of crime. It's free. Go sub up to it. There it is right there. My girl Tiff's on top of that. All right.
Competency exams, haven't you?
Yes, from within the state hospital system and then outside. And then when I was working in Washington, D.C., I would go down into the jails and do evaluations. So it can be for a variety of reasons.
Right. And so, Dr. Leslie, you have worked in the prison system. And how often are we asking for things like a competency exam?
I'd say at least a quarter of the arrests that came into, for example, LA County Jail, their lawyers ended up requesting a competency evaluation. And oftentimes it was because they couldn't talk to their client. The lawyer was like, I don't know if they even understand me. I don't know if they're on drugs or they're mentally ill. I don't know what's going on. And sometimes it was a delay tactic or some type of tactic, but oftentimes they wanted second eyes on the client.
Guys, Aiden Fucci. All right. Aiden Fucci. If you know, you know. Shout out to Richard Strong, a Leo in the house. Another Leo in the house. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday month. Cheeky says Leo's rock. My hubby. Aw. Wait, is your hubby Leo, or is that your hubby in chat here, Mr. Richard? Awesome. I know you guys like the long lives. All right, let's continue.
So that the client didn't put in a plea that they had no idea or that they didn't understand.
Okay. So in Elizabeth Siders, this young woman who has basically been pregnant since, she was, I think, 13 years old, but at 15, she gets married off.
Okay, there's that timeline. 13 was her first pregnancy. 15 was her marriage. She wasn't legal to get married, but they took her to another state where it was. And then they signed off on it. All right. All right, let's continue. I'm going to post a link also as well.
To a man named Gary Siders Jr., who were learning about this family. And of course, when they found her children, they were in terrible condition, according to the investigators, to the prosecutors that are going to be involved in this case. When you look at that mugshot, what did you think?
I think my initial reaction was to judge her, and it could be because she looks like a drug addict.
There you go. And see, thank you, lady. All right, I think a lot of us thought that. We haven't heard anything about drug use. And Lil Red, your son, is that your oldest child that was on your live with you that day? Shout him out. Tell him happy birthday from the crime crew. Or if he's with you, happy birthday, oldest son of Lil Red. All right, 44. He's younger than me. He's a baby. Just kidding. I'm 3 years older. What's going on with this case? And there it is, my friend. Hey, Michelle, good to see you.
That was my genuine initial reaction. And as I've learned more, I do think drugs were likely involved, but I question the level of captivity. I question it as not so much physical captivity, but coercive control and psychological captivity because of being in this relationship, or if you can call it a relationship, this abusive family for so long. But I do also, I want to see the victim for the victim, but I question at some point, when is she also going to be held responsible? And so that's why this.
Now, guys, I'm not just talking about Elizabeth. We're trying to break down what her psychological state is going to be and will she be able to stand trial. I absolutely agree, Lynn, that it's exhaustion. However, I'm not the only person that has said that since day one when we saw this motley crew of people, because how do you survive in a place like that without having something, whether it's alcohol, whatever, doesn't matter. They're legal drugs. Drugs are drugs. All right. And again, I'm not the only one that said that, but we haven't got anything back that says, okay, we did a blood test and these people are on, or law enforcement hasn't said, man, we did a search warrant in that house and we found paraphernalia and whatever. We just haven't heard that yet. All right.
Be able to see if she's competent, we get to start trial. And if she's not, they're going to make her competent. And then she's going to put forward the insanity plea.
Yep. They will make her incompetent to stand trial, and they'll play the waiting game. They'll wait 7, 8 months, a year, 2 years. They'll play that game. Don't worry.
Well, and Leslie, what about, we're starting to see questions about, and maybe it's because of it's in the zeitgeist with Lindsay Clancy, but we're seeing, this is a woman who's been pregnant her entire, teens through 20s to 30s, for a long, long period of her life. Postpartum depression could be involved with this. Postpartum in general, we could be looking at those issues all over again.
Right. And I don't know, I'm sure there's a few people in this world who study a lifetime of pregnancy. But hormonally and psychologically, what is this woman's makeup when all she's done is she's been pregnant and then she's given birth and then gotten pregnant again? It's unimaginable. I can't even imagine.
And then the pregnancies. I mean, listen to this, and you guys understand. You got to understand this. Somebody giving birth back to back to back to back to back, getting pregnant back to back to back. You just finished having twins, and an hour later, you're pregnant again. All right. Now I'm being a little dramatic, but it's pretty similar. And Jinxie, that's a good statement. I would be surprised if there weren't any drugs involved. All right. Yeah. All they did was breed her. But when they asked her if she's a victim, she says no. So is that going to come out after some therapy that she actually is a victim?
I would question if there are people who actually study this.
Well, and just to be clear for everyone, the difference between being incompetent and being insane, those two, just to help our viewers understand where we're going with this with Elizabeth, you have to be found competent in order to be found insane.
Correct. Competency is the earliest thing. Your lawyer is saying, hey, whoa, I need to make sure that my client knows what a plea bargain is. Like, does my client know what a jury is? Does my client know what a judge does? Does my client know what a lawyer does? Competency is that very initial piece. If you're found competent, then you get to put forward a plea and rationally, logically have a conversation with your lawyer about the truth and what you want to put forward with. And it does sound like insanity is what they're all going to put forward. So in a sense, they're all saying, yeah, we did that. We were there, but we're all insane.
Thank you. She just summed up this whole damn case for me. All of them are saying the same thing, guys. They're literally all saying they're all insane. They shouldn't be charged. Everything's fine. Let's get back to living. Michelle, that freaked me out too, but they did bury the babies. She gave birth to the babies in a hospital. They have documentation of that. And we saw earlier today and in several episodes, we saw the burial for the conjoined twins. Okay, so they were documented. I thought when I heard conjoined twins that we were going to be like finding a grave site on their property, but no. Bailey Lee Siders and Faith Lee Siders, 2022 conjoined twins. They passed away shortly after birth, and then she was pregnant shortly after that. All right. So, yeah, that's not the case, surprisingly.
If you were going into, to see Elizabeth and to try and talk to her right now, what would that look like?
She's sitting in a jail cell. It doesn't sound like she's dangerous, so she's probably not cuffed, and she's probably in a small pod amongst other women, able to communicate. And so you would go in, and depending on the setting, you would either have a wall between you or a window, or you just go straight in, and she would be cuffed to the table. And you have to slowly understand their mindset. So can they rationally understand what is going on? Like, really, do you know what's happening right now? Let's just get down to the nitty gritty. And then can you factually understand? Do you know what a judge is? Do you know what the jury does? Can you communicate in a meaningful way with your lawyer? So you'd sit down and ask those questions.
So here's the problem is I think that the client's not on the same page as the defense. The defense attorney is saying one thing and she's saying another. Right now, the defense attorney's got your best interest to get you out of jail, but she's saying, I'm not a victim. I'm not, I don't have any health, I don't have any kind of mental health issues, and I want my kids back. And the defense attorney's saying she's not competent, she's insane, and she's not guilty by reason of insanity. All right? That's a huge difference between her and her lawyer.
And my guess is that she's not competent because the lawyer pushed so hard and waited to put this in. So then what would happen is she'd likely be moved to a state hospital facility where they have these tracks for competency. And you go all the way through these courses where you're actually in a mock trial. So we set up a whole trial room. I acted as a DA or a prosecutor or a judge. The patients who were doing well would act in certain roles, and we try and see if you can get through putting your plea forward and you understand.
Okay, I had no idea. I had no idea you did all that.
Yeah, this is criminally obsessed with a doctor. I had her name earlier, but that's her.
It's, I mean, the patients had fun with it. A lot of the incompetent patients, when they were struggling, we could really identify where they were struggling and how.
That's all she
Sometimes it
said.
really came down to performance anxiety. Other times they were seriously mentally ill. But they have specific programs where that's all you talk about, that's all you do, that's all you work on until you're competent to go back to jail and go to trial.
Okay, so how long does all of this take?
A long time. Sometimes, in California, sometimes you can tap out at 3 years.
So look at her. She said, now listen, guys, I know it sounds like a long time, but we follow these cases constantly that take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. All right. I don't know about Ohio, but yeah, California will do that. It's a strategy. That's it. That's all. Look at it. She's mouth drop.
I thought you were going to say like 3 months.
No, sometimes you may never be held accountable and you can be set free because you will never gain competency. It is a bit of a get out of jail free card when you are so mentally ill and unable to participate in your own criminal defense.
I mean, you're not getting your kids back. It's not like you're going back to your life, right?
Some do, but some are so intellectually unable to live their life that
just think about Lori Vallow, right? She thought she was going to walk out of that prison through the wall. Okay. And that's what she was telling. That's what she was telling everyone. Hey, I'm getting out. I'm a chosen LDS person and I'm getting out. I'm going to walk right through those walls. They're coming down. So when you say something like that to your attorney, then yeah, they're going to say you're not competent. We can't do anything until we evaluate you.
They can't have their children back. But I have seen people get out and stay out. And that's the sad part of our system. But people try to fake it all the time. And that's what we have to do, is we have to weed them out.
Aiden Fucci, he faked the shit out of that. They did a competency review and they realized he was just making it up. Hearing voices, seeing things. So many times more than not, people try to pull that for defense.
Oh, with significant testing. I mean, when you're in a state facility, 24/7, you're being watched. Everyone, we're rounding on you and then we're talking about you, and there's layers of all of this. And then because it is legal, everybody wants to be careful, right? So we're documenting everything, and we do not allow the liars and the malingerers to stay in the state hospitals. So everything is about finding them and pushing them out.
If you're competent.
And that's what they call malingering. If you ever heard malingering, it's someone trying to fake their competency. And Aiden Fucci, I agree. We pray for the children. Those are the victims in this case. Now, you might watch an episode and see Elizabeth Siders looking terrible and saying, I want my kids. And you start to feel sorry for her. But the children are the ones that are the victims here. They didn't have a choice. All right. Now she became at some point, she shouldn't have been married or had kids at 13, married at 15. So at some point, I think that she was a victim, but the victim status changed once she started having kids and not taking care of them.
And then they're like, okay, we're going to trial. Like we're going back into court. We've done what we need to do. And we found that you are competent to stand trial.
Correct.
Okay. And that's when they would be able to kind of move forward with the legal system, as it were.
That's when I would assume they'll put forward a not guilty by reason of insanity plea. And I don't entirely understand that, because it would be for all 16 counts.
Yep.
So that's her entire life. So they're saying she was insane and didn't know that her actions had consequences for her entire life.
You would almost expect them to be saying, well, then she was held hostage, right? Like she was literally there against her will her entire life.
Right. But then why wouldn't they go for not guilty?
How often do these defendants usually restore their competency? Is it pretty common for defendants to get up to speed and be like, okay, I'm competent now?
I would say almost always. For intellectual disabilities, those are different lanes, and that might be a different type of housing that the individual goes to if they can't become competent.
And another really interesting thing, because I covered the one of the trials of Lori Vallow Daybell.
How did I know that? I didn't even get to watch this whole thing. I did a summary, but guys, when we're talking about mental competency, that's a case that you want to reference. We're going to watch this part for a minute, and then I'm going to just hop into the family as a cult. We got about like 6 minutes. The motion for an evaluation to determine not guilty by reason of insanity. That was the header for today's episode. So I want to make sure you guys see that. All right. This is not clickbait. They are absolutely putting a motion forward to say not guilty by reason of insanity. That's what they're trying to do.
The mom who took the lives of her 2 children who she had thought were zombies. And
Right.
it took 2 years for them to get her competent, but she got competent. Even
Right.
though you thought her kids were zombies, they were able to say
They were
you're standing
calling her
trial in
all.
2023.
Right. Because it's not about if you're mentally sane or not. It's about the factual and rational.
Now, you guys got to remember that Lori Vallow said that her child was walking up the walls and climbing on the ceiling, and that he was climbing on the cabinets. He was literally crawling up the wall, and he was evil. So she asked her brother to take him and get rid of the evil zombie spirit inside of him. Right? When you've got a client saying something like that, you can't go forward with that. All right. Kids don't crawl up the walls and walk on the ceiling and need to be put down. It's just not. All right. Let her finish her thought. I'm going to get into the cult thing real quick, show you the documentation where she's trying to do not guilty, a motion for an evaluation to be not guilty by reason of insanity. Right. And then we'll wrap it up for today. And you guys will see here, I have a picture of Elizabeth. Guys, this picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay. So when people say she didn't know any better, she wasn't raised, or she was a point where she did know better, and she does know better. And she was old enough to say, I didn't live in this filth. Look at me in this picture. I'm clean. I'm getting a present. I don't know how the background is, but she looks semi-normal at this point, which leads me to say that she knows better. All right.
Understanding of the court and the process. So, does she think the judge is a zombie? Okay, cool, Lori. The judge is a zombie, but do you know what he does? Okay, he determines your sentencing.
Okay.
He listens to the jury. Okay, then you're competent.
So you don't have to be rational, or you can still have severe mental illness or personality disorders, but you know what a judge and a jury is. So you're going to trial.
Right.
Okay.
You have to be rational, but you can still be mentally ill and rational. It just doesn't matter if it's related to something other than trial and putting your plea forward.
Right. Okay, so Kel, where are you, Kel? Didn't you tell me it was National Potato Day? All right. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto now. Hashtag dumb potato. Hashtag lazy potato. Hashtag I wish Jen Soto would just be arrested already. All right. National Potato Day. Where's Kel? She's the one that told me about that. And I was excited. I was like, I got potatoes all over the place, all over my desk. I got a big potato sitting right next to me, just chilling. National Potato Day, guys. I wish. Fry that potato. That would solve a lot of our problems if Jen Soto would just be held accountable. Thank you, Cal. I appreciate that. And when I need a nap, I just use my potato to take a nap. It's good for the car. It's good for a plane. I got pickles, potatoes, skunks. What else we got? We got lots of toys over here, man. Y'all sent them to me. Every one of these was sent from you to me. I've got the evil Chucky potato. I've got a Chucky that looks like a potato, and potatoes and toys all over. Y'all did that. All right. Y'all did that. I didn't buy any of this stuff. You did. You guys sent it to me. Annabelle. Yes. Annabelle's here. You sent me Annabelle. I was questioning whether it was possessed or not. Right. All right. Let's drop this down. Take a look at Elizabeth Siders when she was normal, when she did live a life that you can clearly see that was very not similar to what she put her children in. There she is, guys. That's her. I know it doesn't look like her, but that's Elizabeth Siders. It looks like she's opening a present. It looks like her white shirt is clean, right? It looks like she's pretty. She's got a little makeup. Her hair looks a little greasy there, but maybe it's just wet. All right. Oh yeah, I also have a she shed with all that. Don't even get me started on that, Jen's a gypsy. All right. Don't start that. Hashtag arrest Jen Soto now. I wish. That would solve so many problems. All right, let's find out what we're talking about here. Cult-like mentality and not guilty by reason of insanity. You'll see the paperwork right now.
Gary Jr. were dating when she was 14. She's married at 15.
So there you go. It gives you the time frame. She was pregnant at 13 by someone else, dating Gary Siders Jr. at 14 and married by 15. Okay?
She has her first child a couple of months later. And as we now know, she gave birth to 17 more after that. It seems like Elizabeth was a breeding machine. Did she want this? Did she want so many children? Her lawyer told a media outlet that she was open to having a large family, but 18
that was
children?
It right there. Yeah.
Well, Tommy Stolle also said in the same interview with 10 TV that Elizabeth told him that all children are a blessing from God.
They are.
Would you
when
like
you
to
take care
know
of them.
what else Elizabeth Siders said? Did she willingly get pregnant so many times? Did she want to be pregnant every year since 2008? Was she being manipulated? Was she forced? Was Elizabeth brought into a cult? Daniela Mestenek-Young believes so. She's an expert in cults and their dynamics and will join me shortly to discuss cults and this case. Elizabeth's lawyer has serious concerns about her mental health. What has he observed and what has Elizabeth told him? Last week, Tommy Stolle.
All right, so there it is, guys. And this is August 4th, right? This was filed August 4th. Court just happened on Monday. You see Elizabeth Siders' name there and the motion for an evaluation to determine if she's not guilty by reason of insanity, which is, at this point, her defense. All right? This lawyer is pushing hard for this defense.
They asked Judge Rogers to order a competency evaluation for Elizabeth, and in the alternative, an evaluation to determine whether she is not guilty by reason of insanity, meaning does she have a mental condition that would make it so she didn't understand the difference between right and wrong when her children were being mistreated. Now, Judge Rogers has ordered both evaluations to be conducted in the next 30 days. Once the evaluations are complete, a hearing will have to be scheduled. Similar examinations have been ordered for Gary Sr.
He's looking that way and at me at the same time. Yeah, Jen's a gypsy. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be surrounded by potatoes, number one, and number two, that I would have tackled that case, that I would have tackled the Madeline Soto case. I didn't even have it in my view. I started streaming. I'm covering serial killers. Sadie Mama's the only one watching me. And somebody reaches out and says, Jay, I need you to take this case. The family they need somebody that can represent the case, talk about it, and represent the community, Hispanic, Puerto Rican community. That, remember, Maddie Soto was a mix. Jen Soto and the potato crew. So yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was getting into in this crazy platform called YouTube. I said, sure, I'll take the case. Let's get it out there. Let's be a voice for little Maddie. Who'd have thought? What a shame.
And competency evaluations have been ordered for Christina and Gary Jr. There is something the defense attorneys have seen that has prompted them to request these evaluations. And
they're all claiming it not guilty by reason of insanity. How is that possible? How are they possibly sane enough to rent a house, ditch that house in the middle of the night, never let the children be seen, hide them from the neighbors in the day into the new house, not get them in school, hide them from the schools? How in the frick did they do that so well if they weren't competent? I don't think that's possible.
Say one or more members of the Siders family are found to be incompetent to stand trial. It doesn't mean their competency can't be restored with therapy and medication. Competence means a person can understand the proceedings and assist with his or her defense. If you love digging into the details of crime cases as much as I do, you have to download the Law and Crime Plus app. If you haven't checked it out yet, here are 3 reasons why you need to jump on board today. Number 1, you get complete access.
No.
Local school district.
Look how
notified.
Look how healthy and young and pretty she looks. Her shirt is not stained. Okay. It's not stained. It's not dirty. She washed her hair there. I had Tiff laughing. Hey, that's what you get when you say shit like that, girl. That's what you get. I really, I mean, people just like to lie and spread rumors. Whatever. Here you go. Spread the rumor I'm sleeping with a potato, all right? And pickles and fucking evil Chuckies. I don't give a shit. Yes, Melanie, the Maddie said, "Oh, case was one of the first cases that I ever took." I said, "Sure, why not?" Through almost 3 years later, sure, why not? Dear Lord, help us all. All right, help her because she knows what's right and wrong in this picture. All right?
That Elizabeth was withdrawing from school to be homeschooled at that time. How was a 15-year-old new mom being homeschooled? I know that I'd like the answer to that question. Was
We all
Christina
would.
Siders, her new mother-in-law, homeschooling her? If so, what was the curriculum? And was religion a part of that curriculum?
Sex ed and cult religion. That was their only topics.
Christina Siders' Facebook pages have religious imagery, crosses, and depictions of Jesus. This was a family that spent a lot of time together, a family that the prosecutor says hid children together. And we know from the superintendent of the Gallia local school district that Gary Siders Jr. never attended the school district. There's no record of him there. And the 6 oldest Siders children were enrolled in online school in Gallia County on August 26, 2020 for the 2020-2021 school year. The next year, they were supposed to attend Attiville Elementary School, but they never showed up for school. Not once, not one day.
And see, this is the whole point of the competency. They can literally sit there and avoid the children going to school, flee in the night, keep having children, but they can't stand trial. They can't take a responsibility. Now, you know what? We've had some pretty good discussions about this case, Arizona's, and I believe she was a victim at one point as well. But there's a point where she was victim to victim to perpetrator. All right. Period. I agree with you. The whole zombie type of status. But there was a point where she was not a victim anymore. And even one of her first statements was, "I'm not a victim. I want to have children, as many as I can. They're all blessings." All right. Hey, Royal Bitch X, you made it.
And they were never seen in Gallia County again. There was no notice provided to any school district that the children were being homeschooled. Instead, the prosecutor said they were hidden, living an insular life,
All right. Good night, Teresa. All right, guys, let's pray for good news. Good night, chat. Praying for good news. Michelle, I didn't get to catch all your stuff, but guys, I think we covered quite a bit today. New filings happening on Monday. All of these people are still on the hook for the 17 charges. The only difference is that Elizabeth Siders' charges will be upgraded by the grand jury, and we'll find out when it does. You're very late. Yeah, brainwashed too. I agree. All that stuff. All that. We episode after episode of this. So it shows you right there. There she is then and now. All right. And I will keep you guys up to date with this case. I'll keep you up to date when we find out about the grand jury, the new charges, etc., etc. If we actually get confirmation of pregnancy and all that. But tonight, we've been here for 2 hours and 16 minutes, and thank you guys so much. Yes, same time, same channel, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Guys, do me a favor. Go over to my comment section. Go over to my community page. Drop a comment in there. Hashtag GOC family. Whatever you want to do, go drop it in that thread. Show Guilty of Crime some love. All right, Miss Bonnie says, I saw your post earlier. Not going to dwell on it. Just wanted to say sorry. Thank you, Miss Bonnie. Thank you. Hashtag replay crew. And yeah, I don't dwell on it either. We're moving forward. Just show some love for Guilty of Crime. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. And I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Keep on showing up and showing the love, guys. It's much better to love people and to be kind than it is to be nasty and mean. All right. Good night. Have a good one. Lori says, you're stuck with me. I'm so happy you stuck with this platform. Oh, girl. Have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you then. In the meantime, stay jaded, because I know I will. Good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?